Akshay, welcome to India today.
Thank you so much, Hesha. Pleasure being here.
It is such an important week for all of us, I think, including SRK and Prabhas's fan. I feel like the entire country, the entire nation is divided into two different zones altogether. One, of course, we've got Dunki, which has SRK, and of course, we've also have Tapsi and Vicky Kaushal, who we very well are acclaimed and known of. And then there's Prabhas. Like, there is no two ways about it. And you also must be knowing that online also there's just so much going on. Like, the reaction of the fans, people, the bookings, so on, so forth. Akshay, what brings me here today to have this conversation with you is because as an industry expert, we would love to know how and what is it that you've predicted for both the films that are out there for the audiences to consume really super soon.
Hesha, it's one of those, really interesting weeks where it's the festive season. We're coming into this scenario after the release of a couple of blockbusters where we've just had Animal and Sam Bahadur do great numbers. So we are, as an industry, moving into this weekend in a very upbeat mood. And with the hope that these two films, which thankfully are very contrasting to each other in terms of the demographics they cater to, the sensibilities they cater to. So I truly believe that Dunki and Salaar are movies that have the absolute possibility of not just coexisting seamlessly in theaters, but also thriving. Because one is a movie for a slightly evolved audience, a slightly multiplexy urban audience, which is Dunki, and then there's Salaar, which is an out and out single screen tier two, tier three friendly mass entertainer. And we've had scenarios like this where we had Gadar and Oh My God 2 doing well together. Back in the day, we've had Welcome Tare Zameen Par do together. We've had Gadar Lagan do well together. So I'm pretty sure that these two movies coming in a weekend as festive as the Christmas weekend and New Year would hopefully do great and bring some last bit of cheer for the year for all of us in the entertainment sector.
Akshay, as you rightly set examples out here for us, which talks about how movies have coexisted in the past. But if you actually look at 2023, this particular year, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you would agree that violence and sort of action-packed films has been the flavor of at least this particular year. Of course, Dunki is offering something different, and Prabhas's film has that masala and that flavor which is ongoing in 2023. According to you, in that aspect, which movie can have a more better opening over the other, considering the flavor of the season has been action.
See, I mean, while we've had Pathan, Jawan, Gadar, all of these movies that were actioners, we've also, of course, not at that magnitude of success, but this year we've also had Satyaprem Ki Katha, we've had, Zara Atke Zara Bach Ke, which are not exactly action films, which have also done well in their own right. So I really believe that while action is a very theatrical genre, especially when it goes larger than life and it's got the cinematic value and the spectacle value, it's great to watch in cinema halls. But then I also feel that we have such a diverse bit of psychographics in this 1.5 billion strong market that we are, that there is an audience that by now is either fatigued of action or doesn't exactly enjoy action and hasn't had something that's down their palate for a while. So I'm pretty sure there's an audience out there that's hungry for a movie like Donkey, which is a feel-good entertainer, which is a happy-go-lucky film, which isn't exactly a alpha male, since that's the flavor of the season, courtesy animal, target audience capturing film. And I'm very sure that Donkey, with the merits of Mr. Raju Irani, who's one of the most marvelous storytellers that we have in the country, backed up by a superstar like Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, who's having the year of his life, will do really well.
But at any given point in time, have you had these thoughts in your head that, let's say, whether it is Dunki or it is Salaar, this first part of it, will both of these be able to match up or beat the numbers that Animal, a recently released film, has gotten us? What's your prediction in that aspect?
Hesha, potentially both of them can, right? But eventually it depends on how the films actually turn out to be. And at this point of time, none of us know the merits of the film because no screenings have happened for the industry. And even if they happen for the industry, the audience isn't exposed to them yet. We've had enough instances where, the entertainment industry has been shown a particular film or a set of films and they've all come out raving about it. And then on Friday, you have surprise, surprise, a very different reaction from the audience. So I think we'll just wait to see how the audience reacts to them. But the very fact that both of these films feature two top-notch superstars of our country, I have a feeling Salaar will open, of course, much bigger in the Telugu-speaking states and in the mass belts, in the tier two, tier three towns, in the single screens. But in urban India, in the multiplexes, even in the tier two towns, there's a great chance that in the Hindi-speaking belt, Dunki will have the edge. Having said that, Mr. Hirani has never been a man who's been about big openings. He's been what they call in Hindi a lambi race ka ghoda, right? Where his movies grow from strength to strength with a word of mouth and stay in theaters for weeks and weeks together. So here's hoping that till the next big one comes along, which is Fighter in the Republic Day weekend, we have Mr. Rajkumar Hirani's Dunki continue to do phenomenally well.
Hmm. But do you think Salar can have like a little bit of an edge because it is releasing in different languages as opposed to Donkey, or do you think it's going to be a cakewalk for Shah Rukh? Because well, Shah Rukh has given us two massive hits in 2023 itself, and even his fans would expect like he makes a hat trick, and sets that record and that bar very high. I'd like to understand what do you think about this? What's your take on
Well,
it?
see, I mean, no doubts about the fact that in the Telugu-speaking states, Telangana and Andhra, of course, Salar will have the edge because Prabhas's stardom there is unfounded and unprecedented. So that advantage of releasing in multiple languages obviously exists with Salar. But having said that, in the Hindi-speaking belt, and especially in the national chain multiplexes, where the average ticket price is significantly higher, it's Dunky that's leading the advanced booking race. So it is potentially a neck to neck scenario, and on day one, all languages included, there's a high chance Salar may open bigger. But the lifetime figure, which is what eventually and actually matters, is going to be purely dependent on the reception of the respective films by the audience. And as somebody who's an exhibitor and a stakeholder in the entertainment sector, I really hope that both these films can offer a great degree of entertainment to the audiences that they target. And I really think it's important that there is something in the cinemas at any given point of time for every demographic and psychographic among the audiences. And these two films are so different from each other that they'll ensure in between these two and Aquaman and the last bit of Animal, which is still going to continue with some programming. I really think that there's great variety of choice for our moviegoers. And while the success of these films will ensure that we as the entertainment industry continue our winning streak, I think it'll be a great victory for the audiences across the country who will have a great, menu card to choose from when they go to the theaters for an outing with their friends and families.
Hmm. Also after Prabha, like after Adipurush for Prabhas, like, do you feel this film, is going to probably be something where he gets to actually redeem himself?
I mean, 100%, because Adipurush was a film that was based on the Ramayana, right? Which is one of the
Yeah.
most classic, one of the most epic, one of the most heard and told tales we have in this country. And unfortunately, that didn't live up to the expectations and went wrong in its storytelling style. But having said that, for somebody who's a superstar, the magnitude of either Prabhas or Mr. Shah Rukh Khan or so many others like Mr. Salman Khan, Amir Khan, Ajay Devgan, Hrithik Roshan, Tarak, Charan, Bunny, Rajnikant Sir, Vijay, Ajit, these are people who built their stardom movie by movie, fan by fan over a period of decades. And this sort of stardom that has been built ground up doesn't really erode by a couple of movies that haven't done well. So Prabhas still has a huge fan following out there, and so does Mr. Shah Rukh Khan. And it will be really amusing. It'll be really amazing to see how these two fan bases, which are extremely loyal, extremely passionate about their favorite stars, come to the movies and celebrate them. So yes, about Prabhas, I'm very very sure that this is another opportunity that he has to really cut ice with his fans and to have them celebrate in a movie that they truly deserve. And look at it, it's actually a great stepping stone into what's one of the most ambitious movies that have been made in the history of Indian cinema, which is Project K, which is called Kalki, which is his next movie that comes out next year. So I really hope that he goes into that one, which has such high stakes, on a winning note.
Right. Um, let's talk a bit of numbers over here. I feel like the industry has come to a point here where the minute you hit like a 500 crore benchmark, it's considered to be a blockbuster. of course, people, when I'm talking to other people in the industry as well, everybody's aiming that, we also touch the 1,000 crore mark. I mean, sure, great to be ambitious. And no matter what it is, box office at the end of the day, A is about, gathering bums on seat and those eyeballs that we require. And the number game is very important. If you sort of had to put a number to what your predictions would be for both of the films, can you do that for us right now? Do you have a particular figure in mind?
Opening day or lifetime?
Opening and lifetime both. Let's talk opening day actually first.
Sure. So opening day, I think, Dunki, with the kind of advanced bookings that we're looking at, should be able to do something to the tune of considering the fact that it's coming on a working weekday and not on the Christmas vacation days, should be able to do somewhere around a 30 odd crores on day one. Because, like I said, this is not one of those mass entertainers that ballistic in tier two, tier three towns,
Correct.
but grow with a word of mouth. So, piggybacking on the stardom of Mr. Shah Rukh Khan and the credibility that Mr. Rajkumar Hirani enjoys with the audience, I think a 30 odd crores on day one out of Hindi looks pretty poised to happen for Dunki. And when it comes to Salaar, if you factor in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Kannada, great chance that it will open at somewhere around 40 odd crores because the
Hmm.
Telugu speaking states, which is the core audience of a Prabhas film, will go all guns blazing on that movie where you'll have his fan clubs and people who love him coming to theaters and thronging in a huge way on day one. So
Hmm.
that's opening day. And talking of lifetime, it's too premature to really speak about it because we don't know the merits of the film yet. But
Fair
of
enough.
course, the kind of credibility that Mr. Rajkumar Hirani enjoys and the track record that he has, it's almost like the biggest factor out of all the factors that are working for Dunki is the fact that everyone has that blind faith that if Mr. Raju Hirani, he would have made a great film. So, Mr. Rajkumar Hirani is somebody who enjoys a degree of credibility with the audience, which is unprecedented. And the biggest factor out of all the factors that are working for Dunki is the fact that people have that blind faith in this man and his abilities as a storyteller, where they know that if it's Rajkumar Hirani who's made a film, it would be something great and it is something they want to watch. No, multiple people who aren't essentially big fans of Mr. Shah Rukh Khan, who have their tickets booked in advance because it's a Rajkumar Hirani film and they're excited about these two brilliant, bright minds, one of the top superstars in the country and one of the top filmmakers in Hindi cinema coming together. So that I'm sure is going to ensure with the right kind of word of mouth, which I'm sure will get into play, that this movie has a great, long, glorious run.
Hmm. And Salaar too, is that what you feel for the other film as well on hand?
Well, again, I mean, it's a Prashant Neel film, and the man's delivered KGF 1 and KGF 2, both of which were huge blockbusters, right? So here, he is somebody who knows how to create those great cinematic moments on the silver screen. And Yash, of course, was not as big a superstar before KGF happened. Here he's got Prabhas, who's a true blue superstar in the Telugu speaking states and is extremely popular beyond AP and Telangana as well. So this is, in that sense, a more loaded and mounted vehicle that Prashant Neel is driving into theaters. So given these factors, I'm absolutely sure that the opening is going to be ballistic. And with those solid cinematic moments that Mr. Prashant really gets those emotional cinematic highs in the theaters, I'm sure they'll come back for the movie over and over again, and that will again continue to go on to become a huge blockbuster. Fingers crossed.
So I guess I think if we do sort of have to conclude, we pick it up from where we had started, which is that yes, there is a palette for both kind of audiences for both the films, and with two blockbusters that Shah Rukh has given us. Of course, we can look forward and expect not just from Shah Rukh but the collaborative effort with him and Mr. Hirani, and then of course we've got Prabhas,
Absolutely.
and there is also a collaboration out there. So well, I think it's wait and watch for now. As you rightly said, too soon to predict what can happen. But yes, Day One looks extremely promising. Also, to have like early morning shows for a Hindi film. I feel like nowadays that is also such a craze, and SRK can pull that off, right? And that too, they're running full. So I feel that's also a huge plus for us. Akshay, before I wrap this up, I have to say that post 2020, where we actually thought that, it's difficult to get those blockbusters and, people to reach the theaters. Safe to say that 2023, the film industry with the movies that we have done across pan India has actually redeemed itself, and 2024 looks even more further promising.
Well, I mean, we certainly have redeemed ourselves, and the fact that we not just broke the 500 crore benchmark for a Hindi film this year, we did it four times, right? with Pathan, with Jawan, with Gadar, and now with Animal today morning, where it went beyond 500 crores. So yes, we are setting new benchmarks with these tentpole blockbusters. But one thing that that is on the top of my wish list for 2024, uh, going by the learnings that we've had and the experience we've had as movie exhibitors in 2023, is that we see these tentpole films with the superstars. You can only have about 10 or 12 or 15 of them in a year, but measured against that, you have 52 weeks where it's it's our job to offer the audiences something that's entertaining and engaging enough for them to want to buy tickets. And that's why we need these mid-segment films, right? The ones before the pandemic, a stereotypical Ayushmann Khurrana film or a Rajkumar Rao film. Those are the ones that have unfortunately not delivered to
Yeah,
the kind of expectations and numbers that we hope for this year. So what I really hope for, the bridges that take you from one tentpole to the other are these mid-segment and smaller high-concept films. And I really hope that in the coming year we have those coming back into play in a big way. Because between the tentpoles that we had next year, for the weeks that are leaner, where you don't have these tentpole releases, you need these mid-segment films to start doing 80, 90, 100 crores of business all over again, which happened, but not with the kind of frequency that you hope for in this year. So fingers crossed and hoping that 2024 can also enable the return of high concept mid-budget films and bring back actors who are phenomenally talented, like Ayushmann Khurrana, Rajkumar Rao, and a whole lot of others into the fray and relevance when it comes to theatrical box office.
that's correct. Of course, Vicky Kaushal is also there in Dunki. So let's hope that, this is a beautiful year for him too, because he's such a great actor, right? And he did deliver a hit too, two, in fact, this year.
Couple of
So,
them, Zarat Ke
yeah,
Zara
a
Bachke
couple of
and
them.
Sam Bahadur.
And Sam Bahadur, exactly. But yes, as much as you're looking forward and the audiences are looking forward to both the films, so am I. And I'm so grateful that you removed some time out of your schedule to chat with us. Thank you so much for chatting with India today. And I look forward to connecting with you through the week, actually. There's going to be a lot of madness and conversation that we're going to be having. So looking forward, Akshay.
Sure thing, Nisha. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye bye.